Okay, so I'm gonna make a video real quick over SPY because I know it's in a very, very nasty spot. It could look bearish, could look bullish, but as of right now, this is my thoughts on it and where we could be headed into 2026 and what we can expect for January and February. Okay, so right off the bat, by looking at this, what I see is an exact replica of the start of 2025 and January and February. Now, when I look at this, before I tell you, you know, how it's the same, but the way I look at it going into this is it's very hard for me to believe that they're going to pull the same crap twice in the same year for a deep pullback. May not be, well, not in the same year because it's, in 2 days, Thursday's New Year's. So, but in January. So, which is, I guess it's possible. And I guess it's reasonable because it didn't pull back. So we got one big pullback at the start of the year, then we ran for the rest of the year. Usually in my back testing I've done that on my coaching calls and on my own, as we don't ever get two big pullbacks in a year. If we pull back from January to April, we usually don't do the same thing in the year. And now we saw that, okay? I said that same thing in the middle of the year, back at September. I guess in September, I said that we're not going to get another pullback for the end of this year because we already had one big pullback. Now we might get a small pullback, which we did. We got a small pullback here, okay? And then we're going to run for the entire year, for the rest of the year after this deep pullback. And it's exactly what's happened. Now, is it going to do the same thing in January? It definitely could. But it's very fishy that they did the exact same setup. Every single thing's the same. Okay. Now, of course, I always watch the same thing when I find a top, but they did the to the T, to the exact same thing. I wasn't really expecting to be the exact thing. I was expecting, bearish or side divergence and whatever. We're about to get into it, but it's just it's hard for me to believe that they're going to do the same things. Maybe we won't pull back as much. Maybe we'll only pull back to like 613, but we'll see. So this is why I think the tops could be in, and January and February could dump us. So let's go back to the start of 2025 and let's see what we have. Okay, so we have a massive bearish R-side divergence that's been sitting there for years. Okay, and it's also on the smaller time frame. Just in case you don't believe in the longer term bearish divergence, we still have one on the smaller time frame. Okay, here. Now you can see that also with this. So it's a little bit more clear. So it's a divergence. I'm just going to remove this because it's easier to see. Okay. Now we have a manipulation leg. So if we mark this all-time high level, we rejected it here. Basically, even though we closed above it here, it was not a displacement. It was closed by like a centimeter, a millimeter, or a few pixels. So it doesn't really count. It's just more like a false breakout. Okay. So it's more of a rejection. Now we move the all-time high. We move the line back up to the new all-time high, which is right here. Now we need a displacement above it, okay? And we didn't. We rejected it because this was another manipulation move, okay? So we consolidated, we manipulated to the upside, stopped out all the shorts that people were placing, and then we dumped, closed below this support zone, and the next support zone is right here, which we consolidated there, but we ended up rejecting resistance for our lower high, and then we went down and started bouncing at support down here around 480, okay? So now take that, and also you go to the daily. One more thing, I guess. We have a bull flag here. Okay, we have a bull flag here, which also signal tops. We hit the top of the bull flag, which is the target, manipulated as high, broke a little support, and then dumped. Okay, so it's a very, very simple strategy for finding tops. Now let's look at what we have here. Okay, we have a bearish R-side divergence, although it's not a very long-term one, but it is a bearish R-side divergence that is completely valid, that could play out right now. Okay. It doesn't have to play. It doesn't have to be long term. Okay, so bearish R-side divergence here. Let's go to the daily. Okay, we have the all-time high, rejection to the all-time high, bull flag, and now we hit the top of the bull flag and swept that all-time high. And now on the daily, we broke below it and then rejected it, and now we're dumping post market. Okay, this is very alarming because I know you all saw me. I've been saying that we need to hold this all-time high level, and this week is a very, very, very important week. Okay, so as of right now, we are rejecting the all-time high level, and there's a very, very good chance we do dump in this next couple months, like very, very badly, and which would be a black swan event. Now, that is my specialty, is finding tops. Okay, I've been literally screaming at y'all since October, No, since September, maybe late August. Like, I've been screaming at y'all about this. So this, I really didn't want it to be a big pullback. I've been debating that, and to be honest, isn't really the market don't care what I want. Okay, I just do what the market says, and right now the market is saying we're going to dump. Okay, there's nothing bullish with this rejection. Now, it is not confirmed until this week closes underneath. Okay, and unless we get a solid displacement down from this all-time high level by this close of this week, then it would be confirmed. But by the looks of it, that daily is not good at all. That's not good at all. Like, this is terrible, absolutely terrible. Okay, so by looking at this, I would say there's about an 80% chance we do close underneath this all-time high level by the end of this week, even with the displacement. Okay, so this is not good. Now, let's look at all the support zones that we have to the downside. Okay, so first off, we need to break below this. Okay, which I think we definitely will, most likely. We'll see, but I think we will break below that. We break below that. Which that's not even a strong support zone at all. I mean, it was already filled, so there's not even really any support zone. I'll look at the daily in a second, but let's keep going down. And then 610, that's really it. And then we go down even lower, and then we're looking at 570, 560, and I don't think we go deeper than that. So this will be possibly a 16% pullback if we go deep to fill in that gap, which is most likely where we'll go. Or if we want to go shorter, then about 11% pullback down to 610. Okay. Now, I guess a really, really short pullback would be 648, but I don't think so. I think we go much lower than that. But that would be the absolute minimum. Like, I wouldn't even, like, minimum. I still would want lower, but that's like, I don't have a minimum thing, but I would just say min target. Oops, misspelled it. There we go. So that's my minimum target. I mean, bare minimum. Like, I'm 90% confident that we will go lower than that and at least go to 612. Okay, so this is what SPY looks like right now. Okay, let's go to daily and see where the daily support levels are. Okay, right here. That would be our key level for more downside. If we want to go lower and you break that key level, I'm actually just going to head and tweak this support zone because it's not that accurate. I'm going to keep this trend line here just in case we do want to bounce at it. So right now that is looking like the strongest support we have here. If we end up breaking below that, that is definitely confirmed. You could also start hedging your portfolio here. Let's go over to TZA. So that SPY, very bearish. Actually, before we go to TZA, let's look at some more indicators. Okay, let's look at some macro. Let's do a deep dive. Okay, this might be a long video, or if you're watching it live, this might be a little bit long one. Not long, but it's not going to be no 10-minute video. So let's go over to the US dollar. Okay. So right now, if the dollar goes up, that drains liquidity, bearish for the market. So right now we're dumping, but there's also a 3 to 6 month delay. Okay. So let's see, September, October, November, December. Wait, I miscounted. Crap. So all September, October, November. Okay, so there's 3 months that the dollar has been going up. That's a 3-month delay. So liquidity has been drained out of the market from the dollar soaring here. And now it does look like we have a pullback. Now, I don't think it's not going to be dramatic from what I see from back like we had, at the start of this year. Because one, the dollar is not going up crazy. Now, it went up a little bit, got a small pop, and this isn't at the 3-month delay, so we could pull back. This could be the pullback, but we already fell from that resistance zone. Okay. Now, when we're going into a pullback and to start this year, we had the dollar absolutely soar. Absolutely just soar, and then Trump signaled the exact top for the dollar. Okay. So we don't have the dollar soaring like we had at the start of this year, but we do have a small pop. So there's a small, confluence there for downside, but nothing crazy at all. Now let's look at SPX. SPX is sending us SPY, but man, the wave 5 target. But it's just a little bit more different price action. So according to SPX, actually, we were never above it this week. Okay, and we actually made that manipulation move for SPX. So it's very important. Most people don't know this. If you watch this video up to here, then you actually care about learning how to chart, because this is very, very key. SPY, that's why I have SPY and SPX are the same thing. They're both the same, but they act different. Okay, they sometimes have a little bit different price action, even though they're supposed to be the same. So as you can see here, this week was already below the all-time high level. unlike SPY. SPY was already above it, and then we just now went below and rejected. So right here, we had that manipulation move where we rejected yesterday, and we actually fully rejected today. Okay, so it's a little bit more clear. And you also see how bad that bearish R-side divergence is. It's very, very bad. Okay, it's even worse on SPX. Okay, so right here, SPX, not good. Nothing's bullish here at all. Now let's go over to nothing crazy happening on M2 money supply. Nope. Let's look at this. This is the percentage of stocks that are above the 50-day moving average. So right now, 56% of stocks are above the 50-day moving average. Now, this is a bull flag. It has not played out yet. So this could go for a retest at that 50% level, which isn't crazy. That's not a crazy pullback at all, like we saw back in January. I mean, this went from freaking 65% of stocks above 50-day moving average down to freaking 5% of stocks above the 50-day moving average, which is crazy. Only 5% means basically every single stock was beaten down. So here, actually, majority of the stocks are above the 50-day moving average. So they're with the trend, a little bit slightly extended, but not really. So. And if we want this bull flag to play out, we do need to hold that retest level here. And now it's not. This is more of a indicator, so charts may not play out as well. Very well could, but it may not. Like I wouldn't expect the retest to hold because it's an indicator. It's not a stock. It's not even an ETF. It's just, I don't know what you would even call this if it's even an indicator. It's index. I guess it's an index. So it's really hard to put a chart on this. But if we want to, it's a bull flag, and we need to hold that 50% level, okay? Which would signal for a smaller pullback. So maybe that first green zone I marked, that could be valid for sure. But personally, even that green zone, I would imagine going lower, which we definitely can. We don't have to hold that retest level. We can, we could either chop or maybe even go down to 39%. So far, this isn't screaming at anything bearish at me. It's actually more bullish. So what this tells me is more of we may go for a smaller pullback and not like a massive crash. Let's look at IWM. Okay, IWM actually rejected my target and rejected my resistance zone, okay, after breaking this bull flag. Again, bull flags are top signals, especially since we are rejecting literally the top of it, which is the main target, and rejecting the top target, okay? Now, we still do have a retest level at 242 that we need to hit. We have a bearish R-side divergence here. IWM looking very bearish, okay? It's been looking bearish for a few weeks now, okay? So IWM is definitely not helping this bull case one bit. 10-year yields chopping at this wave E. We'll most likely see a very high increase in yields up to at least the top of the trend line at 4.6%. If we want to see the target, that's 5%, and we see wave 5, that's at 5.7, almost at 5.8%. Okay, but nothing here is screaming at me either. HSI index, I have a triangle here, not necessarily a bull flag, but a triangle. So, this could go either way. It could go higher, it could go lower. If SPY breaks down, I mean, really, if SPY breaks down, this will probably go down too. But I mean, I know a lot of people believe that the HSI Hang Seng index will go higher if SPY crashes. I don't think that. Well, yeah, I mean, it did to start of this year. So yeah, if SPY is going to crash, you can do I guess a hedge either on TZA, which we're about to get into, or on Chinese stocks like BABA, NEO, NVO, stuff like that. NVO does look really freaking good. I guess we'll go over that too as a bet on this crash. Now, what crash with SPY? I'm thinking so. I just, with my back testing, haven't really seen any actually bullish stuff with any Chinese stocks other than BABA. BABA did, I think, soar in January when SPY was dumping. But we can actually back test it live right here on this video, okay? So whoever's watching this video, I'm probably going to upload it on Twitter. I am live right now in the chart program, so they're watching this live right now as I'm recording this. So, if you want to join us, send me a DM. Let's look at the VIX. VIX still has not filled that gap at $36. Usually they always 100% of the time always get filled. Now, this is probably the longest gap I've ever seen not get filled, but it will. Okay, it will. Now, if we want to see a pop on the VIX, let's do some TA real quick. We need a close above almost $16 here. Let's go ahead and mark that as a key level. A close above that key level could push us for a run higher and really start the massive crash, which would then push VIX to $36. Now, Personally, I don't think it's going to be a massive crash. But again, I wasn't expecting a massive crash in January. I was expecting a pullback, but not as violent as it was. Okay, there's one thing. Okay, when you're looking at charts, you can't. It's not just, oh, I know exactly how everything's gonna play out. I'm not really predicting. I'm reacting. Okay, that's why a lot of people say like when people ask me, where do you think Wolf is going to go in the next? Do you think it's going to crash in January, February, next 2 months, or whatever? I'm like, I don't know. My crystal ball is out for repair. It's out of luck because no one knows, right? I can put a chart here, right? But all we're doing is reacting to levels. Okay, we can predict the target, but doesn't mean we're going to hit it. That depends how we react to the resistance, how we react to the higher low, how we react to the key level, how we react to the buy zones. Maybe the moving average will reject us. We don't know, so we are reacting to all these things as it's going on. But now we can assume, okay, if it clears all the resistance levels and it starts showing some really bullish signs, then we can assume it's going to hit that target, okay? So the target's only there, assuming we'll clear all of the other levels, okay? So just to put that out there. So if VIX does want to soar and make the market crash, could be short pullback, could be a super deep pullback. I gave you the support levels. SPY is going to choose either one. It's going to whichever one it's going to hold. So that's the play for VIX here. Let's go over what do people say is a hedge. NVO. People say that would be... Actually, I don't think... Is NVO a Chinese company? I don't think so. I think it's Norway. No. No, it's China. Unless they just sell in China. I don't really remember, but it doesn't really matter because we're going to back test it here anyways. It's a global healthcare company which engages in discovery, development, manufacturing, market, blah, blah, blah. I need a country. Denmark. Headquarters in Denmark. Okay, so it's actually not Chinese. It sells in China, though. So there is one thing. So we already know NVO's pretty bullish, other than ski level rejection, but it's pretty bullish. But we're not going to break down NVO here. I'm just going to show you one thing. There's one simple thing to know if something's going to outperform SPY during a market crash, okay? You click this little plus sign at the top left on TradingView, compare. Then you're going to type in, SPY's right here. Then you're going to hover above it. Don't use same percent scale, but go to new price scale. Click it, okay? You go to January. You see how SPY crashed, and NVO absolutely dumped, way worse than SPY. So it's actually quite the opposite. But to be fair, it was, in a correction. So let's go a little bit further back. 2022. Okay. NVO didn't do anything crazy, but it consolidated. It consolidated a little bit upwards. So not a really good bet. It's a good hedge, I guess, to be flat. But it's not anything crazy bullish. Yeah, no, I don't think it's a good bet. Now it could do really good here. I mean, but that's a gamble that you're going to play because yes, looks super bullish. Versus back then it probably wasn't. I don't know. It's not that time yet, but so it could be bullish during SPY crash, but that's definitely a gamble you're playing. And it's not. I don't think it's going to be the best option here. So NVO is out of the option here for a bet on the SPY crash. Let's go to BABA here because I know BABA is soared in January, right? Yeah, we absolutely just freaking went to the moon. Ooh, that looks really good. I don't watch BABA, but I'm gonna watch it now. So BABA's absolutely crashing here. We got a freaking rising wedge here without the target being hit yet. So, this looks good. Okay, I actually might completely rotate my portfolio here. Okay, so I had this as wave 3 and it extended. So BABA very well could absolutely rip to, I'm thinking this is SPY. Yeah, that's SPY. So BABA could rip to 230 here. It's at 147 here. We're looking at actually, hold on. Let me get the exact target. Just, unless its entire thing is, let me see. I'm experimenting here, guys, with y'all because it's my first time looking at it. No. So wave 1, 2. That's not wave 3 there. So trend-based fib. Do this. Do this. Yeah. So about 225. We're looking at a 53% increase at least. Could go higher. At least a 53% increase here versus SPY's crash. That could be actually really good, especially if this is your core position. Okay. This wave count also could be wrong. So that is also something to keep in consideration. This count could be wrong. But I believe it is correct. So regardless, it does look bullish here. I mean, we got this falling wedge, or rising wedge. No, I guess it would be considered falling wedge. So I think I said rising wedge before. This would be a falling wedge. It's a bullish, regardless. It's bullish. Okay. So do we have a bullish R-side divergence here? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I freaking absolutely love hopping on calls with people and absolutely making these videos, by the way. So if y'all want to see more, then let me know. And especially topics, okay? I don't know what to make videos on. So give me some topics or some stuff you want to learn, and I'll make a video on it. Or just tell me what you love the most about what I said or anything else, any content I made. Yeah, no, there's no bullish R-side divergence here for us. But that's fine. We don't necessarily need one. So if we're going to bet on SPY's crash, I'm going to give you the options. I'm not going to tell you which one to do. But BABA would be a good play to bet on the SPY crash to target up to 220, 240. Okay, that'd be a 50% increase. Now, what I think would be better is TZA. Personally, that's how I made a lot of money back in January. Okay, when I was shorting SPY, I was actually longing TZA. I bought really the exact bottom. I was literally buying at the end of December and near the start of January. Okay, so actually, I think my first contracts I bought was like right here. No, it was right here, and I bought a lot up here, a ton up here, and I bought even more around here. Okay, so we ran about 122%. And right now, this is TZA. I actually went over it with a coaching member this morning. So, bullish R-side divergence. Okay, that's the key level. Where should we run? We could run to $16. Okay, which would be a 117% increase. Okay. And I got that because this isn't with Elliott Wave. I mean, it's the same thing we use for Elliott Wave, but it's a little bit different. So I take it from the last major swing high, major swing low, and then from I guess he said the last run to the massive pullback, and then last run. 50% fib is the target. We went a little bit higher, but we did end up rejecting it. So this is a 50% fib, targeting $16 at the minimum. So TZA, I actually might enter some tomorrow. I wish I would enter it now, but I don't think I can enter overnight. But this would be an amazing hedge over SPY. Okay. Now, if you want to get more fancy, if you want to get more, we'll go over JD here in a second. I just saw that. If you want to get more fancy, then you could look at option puts for SPY, like a very longer term swing. So maybe a leap. I guess a leap, but instead of a call option leap, it's a put option leap. Probably for a few months out, you could do that. I'm not very good at options, so don't ask me, but do your own research. Maybe ask some people. Actually, I'll ask G Knots, my good friend, and I'll see what he recommends. But that could be a really good play for it to really make a lot of money if you do it right. Okay, if you do it right, you must do it right. Now, let's look at JD here. This is gonna be a long freaking video, but it's gonna be a freaking gem. It's gonna be a freaking gem. People are gonna love it. So JD here. Let's look at January. Yeah, January did go up. Nothing crazy. Let me see. Yeah, I mean 38%. But that also was like in wave 2, so that wasn't really a brand new wave 3. So JD could also pop off. I mean, shoot, I'm not saying do this, but if you were going to put your entire portfolio into a hedge, then you can do JD as like a core position, BABA as a core position, TZA as a core position, and then MVO as a lotto. And then you could also do some longs just to hedge your shorts. So you could do like a very, very, volatile stock. Maybe you could put Zeta in there. Maybe you could put UNH in there. Maybe you could put freaking Wolf or Nimbus in there. But I do know all those stocks are going to absolutely die if the market pulls back. So you just got to, if you do that, not saying do that, it's probably not even a good idea, but that's just something you could do. I'm just saying you could hedge it with some longs. But personally, I wouldn't do that. I would be mainly cash with a short or a hedge on the market. So if you don't like shorting, then you can just long BABA or long JD or whatever stock you want. If you want me to review it, any stock, then just type it into the chart program or DM me it on X and I'll review it for you. If you think it's going to be a good hedge. But again, just do what I said. Go to the plus on the top left, add SPY, compare it to January, and if you want to do even more depth, compare it to other pullbacks too for SPY. If it does not perform well, then you know it's not a good hedge. Okay, but I think that's basically this video. I'm going to start doing some research on my own portfolio and prepare for the bear algo for the coaching members and see what I'm going to do for this. I've been watching this. I know y'all know I've been watching this. I'm posting about it. I just was expecting us to actually have it play out, but doesn't really matter what I expect. Is what's happening, because this is the reality. Market is binary. Okay, it either is or it isn't, and it isn't bouncing and it is rejecting. So the only thing we can hope for more upside is a false breakout manipulation move. We get back above this level, maybe bounce to this trend line and we start going back up. Don't know, but we will need to do it fairly soon. And I would not be betting on it. Like, I'm not going to hold my long positions. So, and this isn't any advice for you to sell all your positions, do whatever else. That's all up to you. I mean, I don't think I'm even going to sell all my positions. I'm going to sell all my positions I don't care about. But I think most of my positions, I'm going to have like a break-even stop on it, or maybe trim some here and then have a break-even stop on it. Because I do want to hold some averages, because it doesn't mean all the positions are going to crash. It doesn't mean Zeta is going to crash. It will. But it doesn't mean it doesn't have to, right? UNH doesn't have to crash. Lululemon doesn't have to crash. It will. UPS doesn't have to crash. It will. So, many things can still happen. So I'm not saying, sell your entire positions. That's all up to you. Whatever I do with my portfolio, I'll do it with the coaching members and stuff like that. But that's the end of this video. It's been pretty long. I'm guessing about 30 minutes long. Shoot, probably more, maybe 45 minutes. I don't really know. But this is a very, very important video to watch. If you watched it live, good for you. Congratulations. But if you didn't, then watch this video, because it's going to be definitely a big one. Well, obviously you already watched it, but whatever. I'll see y'all in the next